Hello, hello, hello. Britt, good evening. Good to see you. I am setting up my technical details here for a moment. All good. Hi, Gary, Astrid, Wendy. Yes, I know I'm joining a bit later for people in the US, Canada, the Western Hemisphere. So yes, trusting that you will receive what is needed, and also this will be recorded. You can access it elsewhere after this. So if you would like that information, please send me a message. I can send you those details. Thank you. My favorite color. So welcome, however and wherever you're joining me from. I'm super excited about this event. Rochelle, yay. Glad you're here. If there's anybody new joining from anywhere in the world, if you care to say hello, I did promote this in some other formats, so I'll be excited to connect with anybody who, may be joining from other areas of the internet. So I want to click and see who this is. Not to call you out, but Lisa, we have like the same shirt, so on your profile pic, I just happened to notice that. Yeah, and Astrid, I'm glad to see you. Interestingly, you crossed my mind in the past 24, 48 hours as I was just, because I'm scheduling things in my live streams, and yeah, you came to mind because I hadn't seen you as frequently as I had before. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. It was just a noticing. So glad to see you. Hi, Wendy. We've got both of our wonderful Wendy's here. At least two, maybe more will join. Oh, nice. A new granddaughter. Beautiful. So if you are new to me, if you're new on just to me at all, just a brief introduction, which you can read and find out more about me everywhere. My name is pretty unique, so pop it in and you'll find me. And also here in Insight Timer, please give me a follow here if you don't already. Please give a donation if you feel called. And we'll go into a bit more of dynamics around even donations as we're going to be talking about money. So if it feels like a place that would be appropriate to give a donation, great. If it's somewhere else and something else, great. But that will actually directly come into what we're doing here today. So yes, I also have a group here in Insight Timer, Natalie's Healing Circle, over 500 members, so we can stay connected in there, and you can look at my meditations here on the app. Please review them, share them, and also, what about that? There was something else about my just that you can see my profile and read more about me. There's a link in my profile if you want to know more. So that's that. 15-week-old baby, how adorable. I want to put my phone on Do Not Disturb here. So those of you that follow me, yeah, you know me, you know my journey, my stories, because I do share my life experience. One really cool distinction, I read about this the other day, about vulnerability, right? Because vulnerability is a thing now, which is amazing. It needs to be a thing and gets to be a thing. And also, you know, it can be our superpower. Brene Brown has kind of been the champion of vulnerability. But there was something, because then there's also been some ideas about like sharing vulnerably without the best intentions, or, you know, for attention, for drama, or something like that, right? And I want to be very mindful that when I share about my personal life, that it is from a place of, with a mind of like, how can somebody relate to it, identify it, what's a lesson, how can it help or be inspiring or relatable to others. And one thing I heard was, we want to make sure when we're sharing to give and not to get. And that really resonated, at least in the context of me showing up here, me showing up, you know, on my platform, if you will, the things that I share. So I definitely do my best to do that. And saying that to say, I recently shared a story about my own life. And if you do follow me in various platforms in the internet, you may have seen my post that I wrote called "It's Not About the Money." So that coming around to, that was my Gemini long-winded way to come to, yes, the story that I want to reiterate that some of you may know. So thank you, Jay. Glad to see you. And here we go. I just want to click on my other live stream that's happening. Yes, which I'm super excited that that's also going on. But yeah, so why am I doing this? So the original, you know, when I schedule my live streams, I do it intuitively. I do it once a month. I have topics that I do lives on. That just have unfolded and happened. And so I had scheduled a different one today, and then after our live stream the other day, I don't know, I got an intuitive hit, just that like, wow, I really want to share about this money topic, and I don't want to wait. It felt like I needed to do it, not need, but there was a sort of an urgency to want to do that ASAP. So hence me updating the topic of this as well. Ooh, the universe brought you here tonight. Would love to hear the details, if you care to share how that occurred. And I mean, I feel God, source, universe brings us all here now together in this moment. But to go back to what's happening here. So today what we're going to do is talk about money, relationship with money, energy of money, abundance, scarcity, lack. And then we're going to look at things that block us from the flow of money, and then like what we can do about it. And I'm actually doing this. So I'm doing what I'm going to share with you, I'm doing right now myself. So you'll leave this space with an action plan if you choose to take the opportunity from source, God, universe, that if you've been stuck in a old money story, if you've been in lack, and if you want to own up to that in the comments, you can do that. I definitely, I still have issues around that myself, and also I'm moving through them. But yeah, has anybody here struggled with money stories, beliefs, scarcity, baggage? just having a shit energy in general around the topic of money. And if this is you, then today is going to be a wonderful invitation for you. If your mission, if you choose to accept it. Right. So there will be an offering and you can choose. Do you want to try something different that has been proven to work, not just with one person? Or do you want to stay where you are and not do anything? If things are working for you, great, then maybe you don't want to change anything. But if your money relationship is not working for you and you're not willing to do anything about it, then I would invite you to stop, to at least notice that, to be like, okay, there's things I can do, actual like tangible things. I'm not doing them. So what is that saying about me and where I'm at? And then you might actually catch yourself next time you're complaining about something about money to be like, oh yeah, I'm here stuck in the old stories, and how long do I want to stay this way? Do I want to take some actions? I've been stuck off and on for a long time. And sometimes that's a cosmic shift that comes in, like grace. Grace is, the religious definition would be like unwarranted favor. I like to think of grace as kind of like an unpredictable, mysterious gift, meaning that it doesn't make sense, it doesn't follow a timeline, just sometimes grace comes in and pops in with miracles and amazement. And I had a gift of grace recently around my money story. So, hi Sammy, glad to see you. And Britt has struggled. Deb, hi Deb, Jesse. Yeah, our whole current human story wants to heal this wound. I love that idea, and I totally am with you on that one. So, we'll dive in a bit right now to where does all this come from, not for the purpose to blame where it comes from, which we know you guys likely won't be surprised. Childhood, which is where all things come from. But if you haven't considered this stuff before, it can be really illuminating. And if you have, you can revisit these ideas again with the theme of, isn't this interesting? Our parents, our caregivers, also were children that were also given and grew up with programs and limiting beliefs and money stories as well. So it's not about, putting the focus on them, but just what are the stories? Why are they there? Where did they come from? So then what can we do about it? So how many of you grew up with negative money stories? And if you did, do you care to share like what you made up about that as a kid? Wendy, in the process of shifting. Yes, I love that story, Britt. That's amazing. Britt received a good amount of money after listening to an abundance meditation every night for 1 week. And you feeling taken care of, definitely taken care of when you need it. By the way, that, and Britt shared the meditate, because I'm like, hey, give me that meditation too. I want to listen to that. It is on Insight Timer. Actually, Britt, would you mind sharing it? I believe you can share it in the comments if you would do that as a service. Jay, immigrants. Wow. Yeah. If you're American, you're an immigrant unless you're a native, but like the more direct immigrant lineage, Jay, if your parents were immigrants, the scarcity mindset there. I mean, there's so much there, like ancestral clearing, the other work that I do, would be great to help clear energies around all of that, which, by the way, if you don't know, I'm a spiritual life coach, Reiki master teacher, and I do ancestral clearing and tarot and intuitive readings. So thank you, Britt. And yeah, so father spent all the money on alcohol, mom super conservative, yeah. So for me, the biggest theme, like actually my biggest worry as a kid was my parents getting a divorce. And the reason that was my biggest worry was because they fought all the time. And what do you think they fought all the time about? Money. It was their biggest fight, their biggest stressor, the biggest source of contention between them, money and material things. So wouldn't it make sense? For how many of you feel like money is safe? This is a wonderful question. How many feel like you can trust money and that money is safe? Ooh. Hi, Anastasia. Nice to see you. That's a great question about the clearings. It's not a linear process, so that would be impossible to answer, because there's so many moving parts and variables there. It could be one, could be more. So thank you for asking. Yes, Jesse, belief, I shouldn't want more, which means, because I've got that one as well, that's a lack of deservingness, right? I shouldn't want more because I don't deserve it. Does that feel like what's underneath? I don't deserve to have what I want. How many of you have that one? I have memories of being in the grocery store as a kid, and there was a toy aisle. And of course, as a kid, you always want to go down that toy aisle. We were rarely allowed to go down it, but if we were, it was like kind of a kicking and screaming experience where, my mom didn't want to be on the aisle, but she was humoring us, but we had to move through it. And we, and if we wanted anything, it was just no, 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 no. So growing up, learning it's not okay to want what you want, and there's something wrong with me that I can't have what I want. So Wendy, Lotus, your parents fought over money. Jay as well. Money feels like a gateway to possessiveness. I would love to hear more about possessiveness. What is that? Can you, if you care to, explain that a bit? Because I don't quite understand. Thank you, Britt, for sharing the details of the affirmation meditation and insight time, or abundance meditation. So we grow up, money's scarce. The whole money doesn't grow on trees thing. It's scarce. There's never enough. It's not okay to have what we want because we're not enough, we're not deserving, we're not lovable. We get into some deeper things there. If there is money that comes in, you've got to hold on to it. How many had that growing up? Like maybe there was a new job with a parent or a raise or something, and then there was like this whole, oh my God, super protection thing over it. And again, that would imply a feeling of a lack of trust. It's scarce. It's not safe. So if you don't feel safe and you have all this, like, it's like a push-pull energy. I want it, I need it, I desperately desire more money, but I can't, it's bad, it's wrong, even wanting it is bad, I shouldn't want it. Greed, Jesse. To want money is greedy. So no wonder if you can identify with a scarcity and lack mindset, and if you haven't had financial abundance in your life, or if you have, but you haven't felt comfortable with it, does it make sense why? There's all this mixed energy. It's this like ball of shit, basically, of just energetic shit. Yeah, so some people will be on one side or another. Some people get money and then they spend it and give it away. Some people, when they get it, they hoard it and they hold on to it. Yes, so coming into the moderate middle, which if anybody's an addict, alcoholic in here, which I am in recovery from that, addiction is the classic, like, extremes. Like, there is an extreme happening. So if you have a background of any sort of addiction, you're naturally going to have a harder time of being in balance as well. Doesn't mean if you have a hard time being balanced, it means you're an addict. No. But for those of you, I know there are some of you in here that are in recovery, that, you know, that will likely be a theme. So yeah, finding a balance. Wendy as well. Wendy did have financial abundance and then everything changed. So interesting. One thing about that, and I'm reading a book right now by Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap, which is really powerful. And it talks about having an upper limit problem and how when we up level our lives, the self-sabotage comes in to try and push us back down into the safe zone, the familiar zone. So I would wonder, Wendy, if was the financial abundance something newer and uncomfortable that when everything changed, could it have been a form of sabotage? This book even talks about health problems being like a subconscious way that, you know, even if you stub your toe, which I have a toenail injury right now, so I'm like, okay, you know, where am I sabotaging myself? Yeah. So Anastasia bringing in feeling a lack around actual money, but also just in general. That's a great point. So one resource, if you haven't read it, I'm reading it now, but oh my gosh, it's an amazing book, The Big Leap, Gay Hendricks. But the two resources we're going to use today with the money blocks and shifting all of this are two books that I did mention in my recent post called It's Not About the Money. One book is called How to Solve All Your Money Problems Forever. I've mentioned it here before. I've probably mentioned it to some of you individually. How to Solve Your Money Problem, All Your Money Problems Forever. And the other one, Get Rich Lucky Bitch. So what I have done in my own reading of these books and incorporating, actually doing what the books say, I've come up with these three pieces that are from those books, and I'm doing them every day. So how many of you can relate to getting a self-help book and then not reading it or not finishing it? Who has never done that? That would be a better question. I think most everybody has. Thank you, DM, for putting that in the comments. Thank you so much. Welcome. So yeah, so this How to Solve All Your Money Problems Forever, I bought it like a year ago. I read up to a certain chapter and then I put the book down. I wonder if that's a self-sabotage. So one very interesting principle from this book is it says we are addicted to money. And me coming from a background of addiction, you know, I'm very comfortable and familiar with the energy and the concept of addiction. But that's actually the chapter where I read through part of it and then I just, put the book down on my phone. But that we are addicted to money. How many of you can relate to that? How many of you, like some of you, even some things that you've said, you know, could be looked at as like addictive tendencies towards money. So I had a very real experience of this, and I shared this before. So in my post that I mentioned, where I recently got a large sum of money that just came out of the blue, out of nowhere. It was amazing. And, you know, right after I receive it, you know, I mean, I went through this experience because it was a surprise of like taking it in. And then just once I received it, like the immediate reaction or response was like, it's not enough. It's not enough to solve all my money problems forever. There was this fear energy. There was a fear energy, and then just like a scarcity energy. And isn't it interesting? I received a lump sum of the biggest amount of money in a lump sum that I had ever received. And yet I did not feel abundant. I felt abundant for like 2 seconds. I felt expansive and light about it for a moment in time. And then on the back of it came just this overwhelming fear and scarcity and addictive energy of like, it's not enough. It illuminated my money problems even more, even though my financial situation is pretty fucking good. I mean, it's quite good. So, but this is when I had the biggest gift from receiving the money was not the money itself, but the gift of the actual experience to see how this all happened, to where I saw money is not going to fix this problem. Have any of you really like internalized that? Have you? It sounds so simple. But this was such a simple yet such a core belief and such a gift and a miracle to receive a sum of money that my logical mind would say, wow, this is a great amount of money. I'm going to be able to pay off my debt and have money left and blah, blah, blah. You would think that would solve the money fears and the scarcity and the lack feelings. Oh, no, 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 no. It made it worse. But then to be able to see the gift that it's like this money, an amount of money from the outside coming in is not going to solve this. How many of you are still stuck on the idea that if only you had X amount of money, more money, a better job, that then your money problems would go away, or your money fears? And you might not even be aware of it, because I wasn't even really conscious of that, but that was my belief until it wasn't. Yeah. So it's great to even see that, because it sounds like, duh, it's so simple. But, it's like it's like if you have a drug, alcoholic or alcohol, drugs, whatever, and you're an alcoholic, and like whatever, you can't get your alcohol, and then your mind just can't think of anything else but getting your hands on that bottle and getting it in, and then all your problems are going to go away and you're going to feel better. And then you get it, you drink it down, you feel good for a second, and then more. I need more. It's not enough. It actually triggers a craving for more. Yes. So I had that deeply with this experience with the money. So this book says, the How to Solve All Your Money Problems Forever book talks about that we have this addiction to money. We need to shift the energy. The addiction to money creates a wall of resistance that actually pushes money away from us. So money is only energy. Yes, it's paper, whatever, but actually money is energy. It is, and there is a flow of it. There's a flow of money energy. It's an energy, and when we are addicted to it, that need, that clinging, that attachment, that fear, all the baggage, all the beliefs actually pushes money away. So this How to Solve All Your Money Problems Forever book, it talks about law of attraction, in that, we are using a repellent force when we're addicted to money and in that scarcity mindset and feeling. So we're repelling it. So we need to counteract that with energies that attract the flow of the energy of money and money. So I'm going to share what it's called the two-pronged method that the book talks about. I'm going to share that. But I'm wanting to share this lucky bitch. Okay, I'm going to share that one first because it fits better. So the book Get Rich Lucky Bitch has many tools and things in it and ideas. But the one that I surprised myself that I was willing to do this, right? So as I said earlier, how many of you have bought a self-help book and never even read it? Or how many of you have bought a self-help book and you read all the practices and the exercises and you read the whole book and you don't pick up your pen and do a damn thing of whatever it says to do? I can also raise my hand to that. So, after having this money gift come to me, and I just happened, through synchronicity in the universe, happened to get this Get Rich Lucky Bitch book, and realizing that money it's not about the money. Actually, I had a revelation while reading it that it wasn't about the money, but I'm like, Natalie, what if you give this a chance to work? So for you all, like, how many of you, I want to buy this book, How to Solve All Your Money Problems Ever. Oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing? Oh my God, I'm going to get this book. Other people have recommended it. Other people have had all these results from it. And then reading it, but then just being on the sidelines and hoping that just reading through it is going to make something change. But you have to actually do the thing, do what it says. So I found some willingness with this Get Rich Lucky Bitch. Just, again, grace out of nowhere. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this. I'm actually going to do it and commit to it. Ooh, commit. So she talks about we've got to declutter our money beliefs. So we went into some of what those were earlier. Decluttering your money beliefs. So those are all of those things we talked about with upbringing and the even the feelings, money is not safe, all of that stuff. So that could be looked at as something that is also repelling money, to have all of that, in our energy field, in our subconscious mind. So she has a practice, and this is step number 1 for you, is that you write down all your memories from your life where you have a negative memory or energy or situation to do with money. Now, usually I would just be like, I'm not fucking doing that because it sounds too hard, and who wants to rehash all of that? But because I'm willing to listen to what this multimillionaire woman who has money abundance wrote, I had willingness to do this. So again, ask yourself, like, do you want something to change? If you want to be something to be different in your money life and your money story, you're going to need to do something different. And here is something here to do. So, I just went back and if you get that book, then she gives like more specific instructions and examples and things if you want to dive in deeper. But generally, it's really just about, listing all of the negative money stories and beliefs and things. One that stuck out that maybe people might not think of that might be helpful is like, she's like, are you always the one picking up the check with your friends? Do they all look to you, when the bill comes? And I mean, there's more than just a money thing there, but like that would be something to put down. Of course, the childhood stuff, if there's any specific fights. I mean, I have very specific unpleasant memories with both, with my parents and all of this stuff around money and finances. So you just write it all down, and all the way up to now, all the way up to present life. And then once you do that, and this will be a fluid list. You will think of new things will come, as things are shifting and coming up to be healed. But you work with this list every day, and guess what you do with the list? You do the wonderful, amazing practice that most of us know and love, Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. I never feel like I say it right. Pono. So you go through line by line each memory. And that really resonated with me because I've read the book Zero Limits that talks about this exact practice that brought Ho'oponopono into the West. I've talked about it here. So that really resonated, and that made sense that it would clear the energies. So you go through each line. So I'll just say, just to be general, like fight, watching my parents fight about money, I would do the 4 phrases of the Ho'oponopono, and you can do them in any order you like, and you just say it to yourself out loud, doesn't matter, in your mind. Thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you. And it's not that we're like apologizing for something we necessarily did, unless we did, but it's just this prayer, and these are the 4 parts, and this is the energy around it. That there is something within me, regardless, because we're all connected and we're all one, that created the situation outside of me in some form or fashion. I don't need to figure that out. But we say, thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you. Thank you, DM. Appreciate the notes. One of my life coaches, who actually went to a Ho'oponopono like week-long thing, he told me about this, because usually it's I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. But you can do any order you want. No worries. But I like opening it with thank you. Because when you open it with thank you, it's like acknowledging, like thanking this experience for coming, because it's coming here to be healed. So I like to start with a thank you, and that makes sense. But you can start with any of it. But thank you, I'm sorry, for whatever is within me that is creating this situation. Please forgive me. Not like that I'm bad and wrong, but just an acknowledgement of forgiveness, and then I love you. So you go through line by line every day these memories until there's no more charge around them, no more energetic or emotional charge. It only takes a few minutes. Now, writing the list, I think it took me 20 minutes, maybe 30, but that feels like a lot. So the thing is, what if this stuff works? What if doing this actually releases and clears the energies, the lack and scarcity, so that you can have more financial freedom and abundance? What if it does work? Wouldn't you want to try it? So I would invite you to consider that. If there's any resistance to nah, I don't want to do that. What if it works? Thank you, Astrid, for the donation, by the way. And if you are newly joining, don't forget to follow me here on Insight Timer and everywhere that I am on the internet. Please give a donation if you feel called, and check me out. Join my circle here, Natalie's Healing Circle. Check out my profile here and my link in my teacher profile. So that's step one. Good night. And you can catch this replay elsewhere. You can catch the replay if you need to go to sleep and you can't stay for the whole thing, so don't worry. Great. So everyone clear on step one? Decluttering our old money stories and money beliefs. All of those hold energy, negative energies, and it may take a while to clear. And so what's happened, some of them for me have cleared, so when they clear, delete them off the list. And then I've added some more because things came up. But seriously, it takes 5 minutes or so to do that every day once you have the list. Step two, we want to go back to how to solve all your money problems forever. So as I was saying earlier, that idea of the addiction energy, the addiction to money repels it, because that's the nature of addiction. Addiction is about need, and it's about grasping and neediness and not enoughness. And so that energy pushes the thing away. Thank you, Wendy. Lotus, yes. New development in the way that I show up in the world. So thank you for supporting me. So if we look at the addiction to money repels money from flowing to us. So then we want to look at attracting money to us. And then we're going to do, the two-pronged method. So how to solve your money problems talks about the two-pronged method. So we're going to heal the addiction energy that resists, and we're going to heal and bring more in of the attraction energy. Okay, so how do you think we can attract more of what we want into our lives, regardless of if it's money or not? But we'll just stick to money because that's the topic. So this book gives the practice of affirmations. Now, I'm sure most all of you have been around the block and it's oh, not that again. I was kind of like that when I read the book, and I was affirmations. Yeah, sure. I've kind of had them work, but does anyone else have kind of loaded energy around even doing those? Again, I'm coming from a different place where I am in a curiosity mind. So I would invite you to this as well. If you have a part of your mind that's like, ah, fuck affirmations or whatever, think, what if it really does work? What if you were to actually commit to this process 3 months? Now, this whole thing that I'm telling you, I mean, it might take 10 minutes every day. Is it worth doing an experiment for 10 minutes a day, committing to it for, I'm going to do 6 months just for fun. But if you don't want to, I mean, the book says it takes 10 to 30 days to start seeing results. So I would say at least 3 months just to give it a real go. But if there's any part of your mind or your ego that's just like, nah, I know everything, I know that, I don't want to do it, it doesn't work. What if it does? What if there's something here for you? And for me, that skeptical part of my mind about affirmations was always about, I mean, I never followed through. I have never like totally been like, I'm doing exactly what this practice is, whatever it is, 100%, I'm all in. I've never done that. I've like kind of half-assed it or done it for a while and then quit before, you know, I had any big results. So, well, yeah, of course it didn't work because I wasn't fully in and I didn't even fully do it. So, hi Sarah, welcome. So if you have any of that going on, again, here's your invitation. This is proven with results from many, 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 many people. Affirmations is step 2 of this method. Now we could have a whole live on just creating the affirmations. I'm not going to go into a super huge thing about it, but we do need to go into it a bit. I mean, I don't know. We might go into a super huge thing. We'll see. So what the book says is, okay, if you have debt, if you have like really urgent and pressing financial issues, you know, mortgage is overdue or foreclosure, bankruptcy's coming, whatever. Like if you're, if you have super urgent needs for money now, you need like put those on a list and be very clear and specific. I owe $5,000 to blank credit card. And you could put like, if you have a mortgage or something, you could put that on there. But if, you know, that we want to look at things that are urgent, like a doctor's bill, maybe it's a third notice or things with that energy. Okay. So write those down. And just be clear, you know, owing blank for the thing. Okay, so that's one part. And then you want to look at, because those are needs, right? And this is not limited to money, as I said, although I'm keeping it really specific to money. But if you like really need new tires for your car and it's like super dangerous and every time you drive it you're like, my tires are bald, something like that, or shoes or any sort of a need where that would also fall in that category as well. So it doesn't have to be just a bill, but if there's something that you really need that you haven't gotten yet and is weighing on you, put that on the list too. Then we want to go to wants. It's okay to want things. It's okay to want things. How many of you have a problem hearing that? How many of you does that feel like, ew, I don't like that. That's greedy. That's not spiritual. Which is another big belief that gets in our way as spiritual people. That money isn't spiritual, having money isn't spiritual, being rich isn't spiritual. Anybody else relate to that. And thank you, DM, again for this wonderful recap in the comments of the summary of what I'm saying here. So it's okay to want things. And that's part of the healing. That's part of the energetic healing. You deserve to have and to thrive and to have more than enough. Okay. Hi, Liddy. You can relate to that one. So I want you to play in this exercise like you're a kid just writing a list to Santa. And if you have that critical voice, just tell it to take a seat for a minute, that you're playing a game, and that you'll get back to that voice if there's any criticism, because it's definitely going to have an opinion. If you're like, yeah, I want a beachfront house in Maui, I want $1 million in my bank account, I want to be CEO of blah blah blah, you know, I want a new Lexus, Tesla, blah blah, whatever it is, Ferrari. I want to go to Japan, I want to go to Europe, all of those things. Is anybody feeling like a bit of discomfort even hearing some of those ideas? Or are you like, hell yes? Thank you, Liddy, DM. So there's a lot to wade through even there. And the book brings you, you know, it coaches you through that. So, and it gives examples. But again, for this context, we're not diving deep into that. Maybe I'll do another live or a workshop or something on that specifically. But you basically want to have your list of needs, like urgency things, and then you want to have your list of heart's desires. And so after you have your list of your wants, you want to go back through each one. And you want to think about, is this something I really want? Do I really want this? Because some of it's going to be societal and cultural. Like I should want, you know, the big house on the golf course, but you don't really want it. That's somebody else's dream. So this is where it gets a little, you know, deeper. But you go through each one on the list and really consider, do you really want this? And if it is a money goal, or if it, like some of you might be like, I want to make $1 million a year or whatever, or maybe you say 50,000 a year, you know, you want to play with that number. You don't want to short yourself out of scarcity. You want to dream big. You want to dream big. You might have health goals. I have a health goal on mine, or affirmation on mine. So you want to go through each of those, and you, like, again, the book guides you more specifically, but you go through and you know, you can't keep them all, right? So you go through the process of vetting that list of wants. And then you've got these two lists. Now, depending on how many things you have on the need list, I mean, that might be your list that you start with. But the goal is that you have from 1 to 10 things you want that you're going to change into affirmations. So if you have 5 things on your need list, then you get 5 from your want list, whatever. So you turn each of these into an affirmation. And it's very specific how you word it. I'm going to type it in the comments. Thank you, DM, for helping. I'm going to just do this. And this, actually, the one I'm going to type up is one that I'm using. And I'm going to say it too, but I'm just typing it first. So he says, you want to choose your own affirmation. You don't want to pick from a list, but if you need ideas, there's ideas in the back of the book. This one, when I saw it, I knew, I'm like, oh my God, I want that so bad. So if you feel that, use it. So here it is. So this is the format you use. And this is one of the ones. I, Natalie, have solved all my money problems forever. How amazing does that feel? What, like, oh my God, like, is that even fathomable? Like, for me, from the scarcity mindset, that just seems like an impossible dream. But what if it was possible? What if it was possible to solve all your money problems forever? Oh my God, it just feels so good, doesn't it? So you can plug in whatever it is, and you start with I and then your name, and it can be whatever name, nickname, whatever you identify with as your name, whatever you're most comfortable with. I, Natalie, have an amazing job at blah, blah, blah. And you want to be specific. So this is where, more, if you want help with this, you can reach out for a one-on-one session about this. If there's anything here, I'm happy to gift that, and we can go over any pieces or parts of this. And I feel like I want to gift it, and also feel like it would be part of your abundance that you would pay for it. It would be part of you showing the universe that you value yourself. But anyway, reach out regardless, and we can figure that piece out if you feel called. But you want to be specific and positive with the affirmations. So, I, Natalie, have a new Vitamix blender. Like, it could be anything. I, Natalie, have a, actually, let me pull it up in the book. I'll just, instead of trying to willy-nilly do this, because in the back it has an appendix somewhere. Here, yep. So I'm just going to give some sample affirmations. I, Natalie, have $1 million bank balance. I, Natalie, experience money coming into my life every day. I, Natalie, create money quickly and easily. I, Natalie, am free of my addiction to money. I, Natalie, earn $500,000 per year. So that could be some money ones. Then there's some possessions ones if you want something. I, Natalie, own a new red Lexus LS. See how specific these are. A red Lexus LS, not just a new sports car. I, Natalie, wear a pink St. John sequined gown. Is anybody cringing hearing this, that it's like too materialistic? Right there is your money blocks. It's okay to have nice things. Hi, Rashida. No worries. Glad you asked. So the book is called, that we're talking about right now, How to Solve Your Money Problems Forever. All Your Money Problems Forever. I, Natalie, own 10 acres of prime rancho villa property outside Phoenix. Career. I, Natalie, love my work. I, Natalie, have a career where I am admired by coworkers. I, Natalie, have received a $20,000 pay raise. Home. I, Natalie, own a rural home with a fireplace. I, Natalie, have a beautiful yard with healthy trees and flowers. I, Natalie, have fully covered my house with aluminum siding. So You can do this. Health. I, Natalie, have full coverage health insurance. As an American, I can identify with that. I, Natalie, feel energetic all the time. I, Natalie, weigh 175 pounds. You can do this around weight. I, Natalie, can afford necessities for my children. I, Natalie, get along perfectly with my in-laws, including Mrs. Walsh. I, Natalie, see a loving look in my husband's eyes every day. Relationships. I, Natalie, am friends with Jim and Bonnie. I, Natalie, have a healthy relationship with Andrew. Purpose. I know my purpose in life. I accept responsibility for what happens to me. Self-esteem. I am as good or better than anyone. I love and understand myself. Prosperity. I know I will always have money. I live a life of affluence and abundance. So if you have any stickiness around those, like, this is the good news of where to work. So, hi, Heidi. I don't know. Probably 20, 30 more minutes. Jamie. Perfect. Jamie, have a beautiful apartment I love. That's great. And okay, so there's some ideas to get your ball rolling. You can have from 3 to 10 affirmations. I said 1, but now I'm remembering it's 3. So you create from the process we described your things that you want, the things that you need, the things that you want. You create your affirmations in the way that I've just said. And what you are going to do, they may change, which is why I'm bringing this in, Jamie. And mine have changed already a little bit here and there. You might want to add details. There might be details that want to come in. It might change altogether. You might totally drop one and bring another one on. Trust the process. So that's another part of this. Don't feel like you have to continue just because you made one. I mean, sure, if you're changing it every day, that might be something to look at. But you want to allow your intuitive process, because things are happening. Your subconscious mind is working. We don't know all the processes that are going on. So if you feel the need to tweak or change or delete or make new, edit your affirmations. So, ooh, Jay, have your children's college tuition ready to pay. So, yeah, so it goes through in the book. It talks about the process, okay? And it's like the first time you say these, sometimes for some of them, it's going to be like, that'll never happen. No way. That'll never happen. Or it can't happen for me. And then as you continue this process over and over and over, it starts rewriting your subconscious mind to where before you're in total disbelief to where, wow, what if it's possible? Maybe it's possible. It's possible. I'm excited for it. It's happening. So you have your list. So this is what you do with your affirmations list. First thing in the morning, upon awakening, you get your list out. Even if you've memorized it, you still read it and you say it out loud. Now he gives a whole thing on if you sleep next to somebody and blah, blah, blah. Figure that out. You can get the book if you want guidance on that. I'm just keeping it really simple and direct. He says you first thing in the morning, upon awakening, get out your affirmations, read them, and say them out loud as you're reading them. I, Natalie, have solved all my money problems forever. And then you have a visual image that you create with your mind for each one. Let that come. Just let it, and likely you've heard all of these sorts of guidances before. This is nothing new. But you want to create an image like, I, Natalie, have solved all my money problems forever. I'm standing like this on a mountain and there's dollar bills raining all around me. That's just the one that came. So when I say that one, I imagine that, but it's not just a 2D image. It's I feel that. And it's just for like a few seconds. Now, sure, if you take a longer pause and feel into it, we want to, with our visualization, it to have all our senses, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, for the purposes of this, these are brief visualizations. And so I'm just keeping to the purity of this practice. And you just let it happen spontaneously. Okay. And it might change, and you might, like, especially Jamie with the apartment, that will grow. The more you think of it, then there'll be more details that come. Suraj, you want a good health and a happy life. Jen, that's a great statement that you would bring in too. Aim low so that they'll happen. So aim high and see what happens. Aim high and see what happens. And commit to this process. And I would if you're going to do this, get the book. It's $3 on Amazon, like the virtual one. So first thing in the morning, get your list, read them out loud, have a visualization with each, and you do that last thing before bed. And then one time during the day, I do it right after I read it in the morning, because why not? It's the best time to do it. And I just do it then. I would suggest that if you have the time. It would probably take about 10 minutes or 5 minutes even, depending. So when you write your affirmations, you want to consider, whenever you create your affirmations, you want to consider the length, because you will be writing them. So that's why these ones I read were somewhat brief-ish. But all you want to do, you don't write all of them, okay? You take one a day. You pick one. And you write it 10 to 20 times. That's it. So you have your affirmations first thing in the morning, last thing at night. Look at them, read them out loud, have your visual image with each of them. And then one time in the day, you write one affirmation out. He says preferably write it on unlined paper, pen and paper, pencil and paper, not computer. You write legibly and you write a little bit smaller so that you're more concentrating. And you just write it 10 to 20 times, and that's it. You don't need to write it 50 times. He says it's actually detrimental, only 10 or 20. So this is the piece on affirmations that, if you were here earlier in the discussion about the addiction being the repellent energy, and then we're having attractive energy with the affirmations, okay? So this is what you do there. The two-pronged approach, the second prong, how do we clear up this addictive energy to money, this neediness, this compulsion, this not enoughness, this grasping, this clinging, this fear, scarcity, lack around money? We've got to shift our energy from addiction to preference. And this is just around money. We're not talking about somebody's addicted to cocaine, okay? We're talking about money here, upgrading your addiction to preference. How do you do that? We've got to shift the energy. So this is like my favorite part because it's so fun. He has a process called glad giving. And I've talked about this before, I think already in some lives, that it's just come up. So it's called glad giving. Glad giving is not tithing, although it is similar in that it's basically you giving away a percentage of what you receive monetarily. Now, tithing is usually known to be 10%. This is not that. What he says is you glad give 1 to 5% of what you receive. If you have a predictable paycheck, you get paid twice a month, once a week, once a month, then when you get that money, you already know and have earmarked this percentage to be glad gifted. And who all was here and heard the amazing story about me glad giving money from that big sum of money I got to the workers in the cafe? Like, that's an example of glad giving. If you weren't there, I'm not going to tell the story, but if you were, that's what it is. Wendy, I think Rochelle was there. I know a number of you were likely here. So now the beauty of this is, if you're like, I'm too broke and I don't have any money, or I don't have enough money, you're not giving from a deficiency. You're only giving when you receive. So if that's your paycheck, if you make, and the percentage is 1 to 5%. If you make $4,000 a month, that's $40. Now, why do we want to do this? He says because it helps us to start breaking the addiction to money that we've got to grasp and cling to every dollar or whatever it is. That we're changing our habit to, when we receive, there's an outflow, and it's a very it's not burdensome. 1%. It's not 10. Not even 10. You can do 5. You can do 1 to 5%. You can start with 1. So he gives an example, and I've said this before. If you're homeless and you get $1 that somebody gives you because you're begging for money on the street, you give a penny away. So even the homeless person can do this. So it's accessible to everyone. And if you have a story that you can't even afford 1%, then you really need to do this, because this is, the exact thing that's going to heal the problem. 1 to 5%. Glad giving. Yeah. So Suraj, I'm not going to go into that topic because we've already covered affirmations and kind of dug into it. But yeah, I talked about that earlier, about people having baggage around affirmations. So yeah, that's totally common. And what if it does work? And we don't know. We can't quantify the people that are saying it doesn't work. How long did they try it? I mean, there's just too many variables. So what if it does work? What if you're sitting here hearing this because it's going to work for you? And if you would just give it a chance and commit to doing it, that it's actually going to work. What if that would be amazing? And it's possible. If one person on the planet has created results from doing affirmations, then it's possible for everyone. So the glad giving. The other thing is that then who do you give to? And this is the fun part. This is the fun part. And this is why it's so fun to be rich. Like, I'm rich. And if likely most everyone here is rich to somebody else. So we're all rich. We're all rich to the starving people in whatever country. right? It's so fun to be rich. I'm rich here. I live in Bali. I'm rich. I'm rich here. Actually, a lady, okay, I'm going to share this one because it's perfect. So I just received money. And so I'm like, okay, you know, I'm going to look at the percentage of, and then this is how it's so fun. It's so fun to give money away. It's so fun. How many have experienced that? So in here in Bali, like, to me, what I consider a little bit is like a lot to them. Like, to me, a little is a day's pay to them. That's a lot. So I received some money from a client, and I'm like, ooh, goody. This is how much I get to give away. And I'm thinking, okay, who do I want to give this to? And then on the way to walking at the beach at sunset, it just, whatever, it was kind of crossing my mind. It popped in my head. So there's this lady, this very nice Balinese lady. So there's a job that people have here. Their job is motorbike parking attendant. Okay, so it's everywhere all the time. You'll see it everywhere if you come to Bali. So near the beach at sunset, there's a parking area for motorbikes, which I have a motorbike. So you go and you park and you pay like nothing. You pay like 10 cents in dollars. I mean, or 20 cents. I don't know. It's very, very low. But these people have, you know, a job where they've got to be looking around and catching people as they're getting off the bikes, and they're moving heavy bikes around. And I mean, it's not the best job. I'm sure there's worse ones, but, you know, it could be better. So, and actually a part of this for me was 9 years ago when I moved to Bali, I was a very different person. And I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm saying it anyway because it's part of all of this, that I would, because I didn't understand either, I would try and get away with not paying the parking attendant like 9 years ago, not now. Because I thought it was like the government, and that this was a government guy, like, and it was like government money, but it's not. These people actually like rent the space or something like that, and it's actually they earn the money. And I didn't know that. And I want to make amends to the man who I totally was trying to get away with, like, not paying the stupid little parking fee. I mean, this is the scarcity mindset. This is total lack and scarcity mindset that I was in at that time. Bless my heart. So thank God now I'm different. So yeah, I come to the place on the way. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to give her basically a day's pay. And in the minute I thought of it, I knew it was the thing to do. So for you can give to an organization if you believe in them. You can have it be however you choose. If you want it to be, you know, you love a certain charity and you just want to set it and forget it, you know, the deposit from your job comes in and the donation goes out every month. You can totally do that if you choose, or you can go to a charity event and you can do it any way you want. This is just me and how I'm doing it. But yeah, that woman came to mind, and she's been kind and friendly to me for no reason, you know. Maybe because I speak Indonesian, actually, but aside from that, she just is a nice lady, and she's probably in her 50s or maybe even more, and that's her job. And I think she's very grateful for it, because everyone is very grateful for their jobs here in Bali that are, you know, local people. But still, it's thankless work in many ways. So when I thought I'm going to give her some of my glad giving money, I just felt so excited. And so I go and she was there, and I see her, and she knows me now, and And I said, listen, I want to give you a gift in here. And she was so thankful. She was so thankful. And then she's like, where are you from? And I said, America. And she's like, oh, you're rich. And the old me, the old thinking wants to say, oh, no, I'm not. Like, so I'm working on changing that old pattern, because my mind has a mindset, you know, I'm just a normal expat. There's like all these rich expats and I'm not one of them. So there's all these stories around that. And then sometimes the local people will be like, oh, you have a villa. Everyone has a villa in Bali, like, and I don't right now. But I notice my mind has said before and wants to say, oh, but I'm not a rich foreigner. And I'm like, why am I validating that out loud? Why do I continue to say to just stop saying that? So even yesterday, whenever the lady was like, you're rich, I noticed that one to come out. And because of all this work I'm doing, instead, I said, yes, to you, yes, I am rich. And yes, and also in America, I'm normal. So I already made a stride, even doing all of this work to remove the blocks. But yes, the energy of the glad giving is so beautiful. And many of you heard my story where I gave to the whole cafe workers and all of that, and just how beautiful that is. You know, when we are rich, or even not, like even the homeless person, to give 1 penny out of their dollar they received on the street. It's the energy. Money is a flow. There needs to be an in and an out. So when we glad give, it starts releasing this addiction. There's an addiction to money. The glad giving starts breaking that up. And so then what you start doing is, okay, like I get certain amounts per month from clients, so I sort of know, and then, you know, I have other people paying in different ways, but, you know, I don't have a paycheck. I'm not an employee of anybody, right? But if you are, or if you're not, but it's easier if you are, that you're just like, okay, when I get my paycheck, I know that this glad giving money is going out. So it's not about, it's this deficiency. And it's 1 to 5%. Like I said, even if you make $5,000 a month, if you make $10,000 a month, that's only $100 glad giving, 1%. It's a doable amount for everyone. And what you'll notice is more abundance will start coming in, and it will start releasing that addictive hold. So this is the two-pronged method with the additional decluttering your money story practice from the Get Rich Lucky Bitch book. So thank you, Heidi, for joining. We had some other comments come in. Wonderful, Wendy. And Deb, this is so powerful. Thank you for sharing that you didn't realize you had negative beliefs about money until listening to this talk. Like, that's amazing. Like this can change your life. For you to see that you had negative beliefs, because they were there already. You were operating with them without the awareness. It's like a fish swimming in water that doesn't know it's in water because it's never been pulled out of the water until it is. And then it's like, oh my gosh, what's this lack of water? Put me back in the water that I didn't know existed until I was removed. It's the same with these limiting beliefs and stories that it's like you don't even know you're there. And then once you do, it's this whole illumination that can be life-changing. So I'm so glad. So, I mean, this whole talk was worth it just to hear you say that. And I assume others have gotten benefit as well. So yes, the 3 steps to, and Suraj as well. Wonderful, wonderful to hear. So this idea just came right now because I don't have, this all just unfolded, this whole thing. I mean, and to lead me to be here with you. But would it be helpful for me to create like a 1-page or 1 to 3 pages of like breaking the summary of this down? And I would encourage you to buy the books, yes. And also, I mean, would it be helpful for you to kind of ground into these tools today to have that? If so, send me a message on Insight Timer, or join my group, Natalie's Healing Circle, or comment wherever you see this video, so that I can gauge interest in that and create that. It won't take long, and you can have that resource. But the 2 books were Get Rich Lucky Bitch and Get Rid of All, or How to Solve All Your Money Problems Forever. So, great. Has this been helpful? And Deb, Suraj, obviously know that it has. And if so, share your takeaway. What's the biggest aha? What's the biggest thing that you're going to take from this that's been helpful, that's opened up for you? Oh yeah, and thank you, Deb, for the donation. By the way, if you were here at the beginning when I was talking about giving the donations, if you feel called as part of your, I mean, it might not be an official glad giving because you want to wait until you get your next your next influx of money, but still you can glad give through here if you want, if it feels light and good. And that's another thing with the glad giving. Go with your first impulse that feels light and expansive of who and what to give to. And what usually happens is, because this happens a lot. It's changing, but it's still there, where it's like, ooh, I want to give this much money to this person. Immediately my mind is like, nope, too much and you can't do it. Okay. So that is going to happen for a while until you get into this routine, and you're going to pull that energy and those thoughts and beliefs apart. Trust that original instinct, please. If you have an impulse to give, say a homeless person's on the street and you walk by and you have this impulse and you know you have a $10 bill in your pocket, and that's your first impulse and it feels good, and then a second later you're like, oh no, that's too much and maybe I have $1, and then you look and you give $1. No. Go with your original impulse, because that is from above. And follow that, honor that. And so, 2, if you feel called to donate in this space as part of the flow of abundance for you, great. If not, that's fine too. And please follow me if you don't already, here and everywhere. No, Wendy, it wasn't Michael Singer. It was Conversations with God that has that story that I've told before. So, Jay, the person who wrote the book is Victor Bach. I think it's, just B-O-C. I'm looking on my phone. So my favorite coach, which you've heard me talk about, the ultimate coach, Steve Hardison, he recommends this book. He is a multimillionaire. He's amazing. So that's where I first heard of this. And also another coach, because I'm also a spiritual life coach, if you don't know. But yeah, it's highly recommended. It might be BOCK, but I can't see it on my screen. So anyway, Wendy with an I. Wonderful. Glad to hear you are going to take these things on. And I would too, as part, like for anybody this resonates with, I know this is for somebody here. If you're wanting to do this, please get one or both of these books. I mean, the majority of the like the affirmations and the glad giving comes from the How to Solve Your Money Problems Forever book. Like I said, I think it's $3 for the Kindle, or it's under $10. Is it worth it to invest that? Can you find that? And then when you make the purchase to do this, yes, then you commit to doing it and like giving it a chance to work. Because what happens is we buy the book and then we half-ass it and then we say it didn't work. Has anybody done that before? I'm raising both my hands. So I'm not doing that this time because I'm solving all my money problems forever. So Jen, yeah, the addiction part about the relationship to money, that was big in this book for me, and especially the experience I shared, which you can read my post on my blog and Facebook. It's called It's Not About the Money. It's not long, but read that, and like that was so eye-opening just to have that experience. And yeah, it's such an addiction for me up until now. Change your language. Hi, Michelle. A space for gifting that isn't money. Totally, there's a space for gifting that isn't money. And also in this very specific context of this book's recommendations in this process, because we're talking about money specifically. The reason why the glad giving is it helps to break that addictive energy and that repulsive energy, because addiction repels whatever it's addicted to. The affirmations attract. The addictive energy is repelling the money. So the glad giving helps stop that from happening. Now, yes, there's definitely other times and spaces and places to give, time or gifts. I've done this as well. I've shared this before in Thailand when I was living there recently. I bought toys just randomly on the beach. This man, his job was selling these cheap toys at this night market. Like this man, like my age. Like there's not a lot of money in that. And anyway, it was a whole story that just I randomly got this idea. Ooh, I'm going to buy like a toy, and I'm going to find a kid whose parents are working at the market. Also, they don't make any money either. Likely don't get toys. So I bought the toy and I gifted it to the kid. That would be an example of, I would say, I don't know if that would be considered glad giving because it's quite specific that it's money, but it's in the same energy. And, I would read the book if you're really wanting clarity on that. Awesome, Britt. You bought both books and are committed to doing it. You know what? I just had an idea to have like an accountability group, like my sugar-free group around this, and that we do this. Ooh, getting a download. It's not going to be today or tomorrow, but that's, yeah. Woo! That will happen. That will be fun. That will be fun, and that will happen. So yes, so if you're interested in some sort of support like that, because accountability is so helpful and support is so helpful, and people going and doing it and sharing their experiences and supporting and holding each other accountable can help you stay committed. If you want to do that, if these ideas today have been helpful, if you resonate and you want to do it, yes, start on your own. And when, this group idea lands a bit and comes into more full form, if you want to be notified of that, please send me a message through Insight Timer or my site. And I can put you on a list to notify you when that happens. So, yay. Jay, what a very compelling and powerful example about selling your art, gifting it, or selling it for too little. And that you have the self-awareness to know it's not coming from an open, generous space. It's coming from a lack of belief in your own worth. So that Get Rich Lucky Bitch, I feel like that book would be really helpful for you, because at the end she talks about, like, if you're an entrepreneur, raising your prices. So even what you're describing would definitely fit into that. So she goes over some of that stuff in there. I would definitely recommend that. And also, if you get it, don't do the thing that we've all done up until now of either just reading it and not doing the practices, or half-assing them and not committing. Yeah, Deb, that would be great. Well, have you been here before? If you have, I apologize. But I have this very powerful story. Okay, that was my assumption, but yeah, first time. Yay. Thank you for the donation if I didn't say that already. But I have this really amazing, powerful story about glad giving from this lump sum of money that I gave. But I feel like I don't want to go into it right now. I've already been talking a long while. Yay, thank you. I want to actually record that story and put it up as a video, because it's just a powerful story that way I could be like, hey, you can hear the story here, instead of waiting for me to tell it in a live whenever it might come up. But yes, it's such an inspiring story of glad giving. Yeah, and it's similar to me giving to the lady, the motorbike parking lady, but also on a bigger scale. So thank you, Wendy. Thank you all so much. Thank you all. So let's solve all our money problems forever and get rich, lucky bees. Whatever your, however you identify. So don't forget to follow, give a donation, support me and all that stuff. Reach out one-on-one if you'd like. And also look at, oh my God, this is one I've been working on, is like paying what things are, not trying to barter. I don't know why that wants to come in last minute, but somebody here, maybe more than one person, either you need to stop bartering for your services. Maybe you're trading services with somebody instead of just charging your fee. So some of you need to stop doing that and just charge your fee. Some of you need to up your fees. Some of you need to stop putting so much energy into finding bargains and deals and the best deal, and taking weeks and months to get this exact perfect thing, because it's the energy in which you're doing that's the problem, and that's that addictive energy. So look at where you can pay full price. And this Get Rich Lucky Bitch talks about all of these sorts of things as well. So definitely for somebody there. Yeah, and Deb. You're not the only one. So, I'm lucky that I live in Bali where the currency is worth a lot less than the currency I live in, which is the US dollar. Like even last night, this is a funny little story, but to do with motorbikes again, I was getting gas. We call it petrol here. And here they only have full service gas stations. It's amazing. And I was telling my local friend last night, I was like, in the US, you pump your gas like I said, for the whole time, my whole life, I never once went to a full service pump ever until I moved to Asia. So, and then now here, it's only full service. You never, ever, ever pump your own gas. So I went last night. It was really crowded. It was a bit late. And what they have is they have people that are like the pump attendants. And again, it's a shit job and they don't make any money. I mean, they probably make, let me think, $120 a month for full time. They probably work 6 days a week. They probably have 4 days off a month, and they make $120 a month. So I go up to the pump. It's an older man, older than me. This is his job. And I just feel empathy for him. And I usually tip them. And because of this glad giving space, I have this money earmarked and I get to give it away. And I'm like, ooh, who's going to get this money? So this is the fun part. If you want to do it this way, and then I tell the universe, like, show me who I'm supposed to give this to. Make it really clear who gets this money. And then I was walking at sunset last night and I was looking, but nobody really felt like it because it was supposed to be this gas station man. And this whole impulse thing, Deb, about wanting to give and then not, or lowering the amount. So I usually tip, a fair amount. But just whatever, what I just said, he was older, it was late, just knowing, and they were so busy, and knowing I'm looking for glad giver recipients. I had this, 50,000 note in my wallet. And my first impulse was to give him like the low tip amount, which is my usual amount, which is fine because most people don't tip at all. So I'm not saying, like, I'm not diminishing that my tip wasn't good enough, but I just had this impulse like, ooh, I'm going to give him a huge, like a half a day's pay tip here. And I started to get out the small one, like I discounted giving the bigger one. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no, you give that big amount. That was my first impulse. I go with it. And so I gave him that bigger tip. His face, he was like confused. And he's like, and I said, gratis, like free, like gift. And he's like, oh, thank you. I mean, it was just, yeah, worth it. So anyway, thanks, Heidi. Jay. Interesting thought about you've never felt comfortable bartering because you're uncomfortable charging what you're worth. Yeah, there's some things to dig into there. I feel like we could dig deeper in conversation. There's some things to further illuminate in there, but I love that you can see that. So yeah, interesting. Yes. I hope I made the man's day. Anyway, I could go on. I'm going to not go into that train of thought just because I need to go. But Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you again very soon, in a few days. And let me know how it's going. Join my group, Natalie's Healing Circle. Post question, comment in there. Reach out one-on-one. All that good stuff. Much love. Blessings. Look forward to seeing what you create when you do these removing of these money blocks and doing this and committing to this. Just do it. Me too. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. See you again soon. Bye bye.